has been now for 5 years. And that is wrong. That is wrong. If Julian is imprisoned, if this stands, if this continues, it is not just an attack on the freedom to speak. It is not just an attack on the freedom to publish. It is an attack on the freedom to know. It is an attack on the right of citizens to have knowledge of what their governments are doing in their name and with their taxes in private. It is an attack on the rights of every single person here and every single person around the globe. Now, I've been at every day of these hearings over years and years, and I tell you something, I have lost all faith in the independence of the judicial system. I just do not believe in it. Today, in that court, Lady Judge is going to sit at the head of the court, who is the sister of the man who arranged an £800,000 loan for Boris Johnson and then became chairman of the BBC Just Establishment. But I am here in the hope that we can scare the establishment, scared of the power and the voice of its people, into being forced to give justice, because that is the only path to justice in this country. Public opinion has slowly changed. It's been like turning an oil tanker, but over years and years of effort and campaigning, we have now reached a stage where most people understand the issues at stake here, where the lies and flim-flam being put out by the media has been washed away, and where, thankfully, nearly all major publications now oppose the extradition of Julian Assange, where the publications that worked with him initially have come round to saying he should not be extradited, where the journalists of the world are standing up for Julian. We have now got public opinion and public pressure on our side. I don't think this will end today or tomorrow. I think we still have a path ahead of us, but there are far more of you here today, even at this time in the morning, than were here last time we stood outside this court. There are more of us all the time. The pressure is growing. I'm going to keep campaigning. I know you will keep campaigning, and I thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Craig. Now, many of you will be aware that this is not just a campaign in this country, that Julian Assange has support reporting for Jacobin magazine. Please give him a warm welcome from across the Atlantic.
Thank you very much. I'm with Defending Rights and Dissent, and I'm covering the trial today for Jacobin, and I was at the court-martial of Chelsea Manning, where I joined a number of people, I don't know how many years ago it was, where we took Obama's Nobel Prize and laid it on the gates of Fort Meade, saying Obama should give his Nobel Prize to Chelsea Manning, who has done more for peace than he had. This is the most important. The reason why I am still here 14 years later isn't just because the US and the UK governments will not stop persecuting WikiLeaks. It's because this is the most important press freedom trial of the 21st century, not just for my country, where the stake of the First Amendment is on the line, but for the world. Julian Assange is not an American. WikiLeaks is not an American publication, but the US government says they can come and find you anywhere in the world and put you on trial for exposing their war crimes. If that precedent is set, it will be the death of journalism in the US, it will be the death of journalism the world over, and it will be the death of all of our rights to say no to war and militarism. We have to remember that when the collateral murder video came out, when the Iraq and Afghan war logs were released, many people were disturbed by how the corporate media had cheerleaded on the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, and WikiLeaks was a breath of fresh air reminding us what critical journalism that spoke truth to power was. Here we are 14 years later, and the media is once again cheering on more wars, a genocide in Gaza, bombing in Yemen, maybe another Iraq war, who knows? From the very beginning, the US government knew that you can destroy journalism by destroying the sources. The imprisonment of Chelsea Manning, the attacks on Edward Snowden and Daniel Hale have always been part of a backdoor war on journalism. Now they are going through the front door and trying to lock away the journalist himself, and we cannot allow that to happen. Thank you very much.
Now, one of the countries in Europe that has given enormous support to Julian Assange is Germany. And one of the people that's been leading that campaign is the parliamentarian Angus Hunkel, and I'm very pleased that he's here to speak to you today.
So, good morning, everybody. My name is André Hunko. I'm a member of the German Parliament and of the Parliamentary Assembly of Council of Europe. And that assembly is the assembly who elects the judges in the Court of the Human Rights in Strasbourg. And I have to say that 3 times in 2020, in 21, and some weeks ago, the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe called with huge majority for the immediate release of Julian Assange because of what it means for press freedom, and that is, I think, a very good sign. You know that this could be the last hearing today, and if the extradition will be given free, then there could be an intervention by the court, by the European Court for Human Rights in Strasbourg. It's the so-called Rule 39, it's an interim measure, and I really expect, if this is the case, I really expect the British authorities to respect the Strasbourg court, because this is binding, this is international law, and I don't want Britain to breach international law. So, you know the Rwanda case here, it was a big issue in Britain, and the court did an interim measure, and the British authorities, the British government, in the end respected, but made a lot of noise about Strasbourg, but I think it's important to have this, and I'm quite sure if the case of Julian Assange will be given to Strasbourg, to the European Court on Human Rights, then I think the chances are very, very good for Julian to be released. But we don't want to have punishment through process. Julian has to be released immediately and tomorrow, and that is why I'm here. That is why I'm supporting all your struggle, and that why I will observe the trial. Thank you very much.